So today, this is really going off topic for me, but I thought it might help somebody. So I decided to put this out there. And I know that when I started having these problems, I found it very hard to find coping mechanisms and to keep kind of going where it wasn't really just halting me in my tracks. So I thought I'd put this out there. And so today I'm going to talk about dealing with hot flashes and night sweats, either from chronic illness or for hormonal reasons. But hopefully these are a few tips that if you're going through this, if you haven't thought of, they'll help you. So anyway, here we go. So my first tip is ice packs. These things are a lifesaver. I generally always have one beside me when I go to bed at night, on my nightstand, just on a little towel, wrapped in towel. I often do wrap them in a piece of flannel or something so they don't feel, get so wet and like that. But I also take them when I'm going out of the house. And for that, I have this little, it's a drinks, like a thermal drink sleeve. And this I just picked up here at Mark's. It used to be Mark's Work Warehouse here in Canada. I think you can get them most places. This one has the thing so you can squeeze it tight at the top so stuff won't fall out. And it also has a little like squidgy hook and handle. So I find this really handy. It stops everything in my purse from getting wet. And all I do is just drop these hard little ice packs. And these I found to be quite good. These are the Rubbermaid ones. They come in all different sizes. Sometimes if I'm going to be out for a longer afternoon, I do get the size up from this because it stays frozen much longer. But I do recommend the hard ice packs. And also, if you can't find these Rubbermaid ones, which are quite good, test them first. I've had a couple from different brands that don't stay frozen for very long, and that can be quite annoying. Anyway, I just pop this in here and I'll put it in my purse. And then if I'm having like a hot flash when I'm out and about, if I'm in a situation where I can't really like drag this out and start like, cooling myself down, which I would do if I was just in the car. But if I'm not like that, I can stick my hand into my bag and right in and just put this on my wrists or stick my hand in if that's all I can manage. But I also sometimes just take it out and rest my hand, like my wrist, on the ice pack when it's still in my purse. And I find this really saves me a bad case of the sweats sometimes when I'm out, and also just stops me from feeling so like flustered from that kind of the heat and the sweating that can come with that. So that's my top tip. And seriously, ice packs are your friend. I find that they can just stop that in their tracks if I get it at the right point. And I find the best place to put them are either wrist, chest, like right there. I find that really, really helpful. And also the back of your neck and your cheeks, because I get really flushed cheeks, so I do like to set it on my cheeks. But those are my points where I find it most helpful. You might find it somewhere else. The other thing that I've done when I'm going out in the winter, when you know that there's going to be like tons of heat, is if depending on what I'm wearing, I've been able to put it in a way that it kind of sits at my lower back, and that really works to keep me cool. I find that is just amazing. I've used a fanny pack before, like one of the flat money holder ones that you can just push, like, so it just kind of sits against your back. And it's not a big thing, but it just kind of helps to keep you cool. I've also just set it behind me on a chair if I'm, going to be talking to somebody. I just will rest. Usually that's the bigger one. I just rest behind me sitting on the chair and try to discreetly pick it up when I'm leaving again if I'm in a situation where I'm coming and going. But I find that really helps to cope with that. So I hope some of you find that tip useful as well. Something else I like to take with me when I go out is this little spray can of water. I use this for my face too, which gets very, very dry. But you could also just get a little spray bottle from the dollar store and fill it with water. And then I put this, usually when I'm going out, I put this in with the ice, so it'll be really nice and cold if I need it. And again, I spray wrists or back of neck. And this is something that, depending on where you are and how hot you're going, this I find sometimes will last a bit longer. Like if I'm really hot but having to go in someplace, I'll just spray the back of my neck and hope for the best, and also, or my wrists. But also, you know, it's an added bonus, because if you spray your skin and then put the cold ice on it, it really helps cool you down quickly. So that's something that I always carry. They have bigger bottles of these as well. This is the purse size. They also, all different brands have these. This is just the one that I like. But as I said, you can just get a dollar store bottle if you're not using it for like your skin as well. Just get a dollar store bottle and fill it with some water. Just make sure the lid goes on tight and just jam it in there with the ice, and you have got an instant cooling kit. I know some people use the menthol sprays and all that. That's great if you can use that. I personally can't. Menthol really irritates my skin and my respiratory system, so it's just not an option for me. But if it is for you, that's brilliant. So another thing that I'd recommend if you're having night sweats a lot, or having that kind of thing when you're sitting, is this. This is actually a pad that is meant for, like, if you wet the bed, which isn't a problem I have, thank God, but I find that it absorbs sweat, and this one is an odor control one, which is just great when you're sweating like that. I will, if I'm having a particularly bad time, I'll throw this on a chair or a bed that I'm sitting on, and then just wash it that next day. And these ones wash really nice. I picked these up at Costco. They're not like full mattress pad size. They just kind of go under your core body. I tend to put mine up by my like shoulder, neck, and kind of down to my waist, because that tends to be where I have the most trouble. So anyway, I know that's a bit TMI, but this, again, really saves the bedding and the bed. And if you wake up in the middle of the night just drenched, and it's like you're exhausted, and, you know, changing your clothing is a lot sometimes when you're that tired, and so I do, but this, just find then that I just whip out from under, and that's, like, I'm good to go on days where I know it's going to be particularly bad, because my overall health has been a bit dodgier, shall we say. So that I find really helpful. The other thing I would recommend for sleeping, and just in general, is cotton clothing. I wear broadcloth pants or cotton leggings often, and then these are just shirts from, they're men's, these are like the oversized ones from Walmart. They're George men's shirts, and they're long sleeves. I find that the cotton excellent for breathing, and I also find that the long sleeves means that my temperature isn't varying as much, like my skin temperature. I don't know, I've read that this actually helps, that long sleeves can help, and I really find it to be the case. So if you have, I know it seems like counterintuitive when you're that hot, but if you are really hot, try sleeping with a thin, long-sleeved like t-shirt, or, but not tight, just like really baggy long sleeves, and see if that helps. I found it to be just a huge difference in how often I was getting the flashes. I think it's that your temperature doesn't fluctuate as much, or something along that lines. Your skin temperature all stays even, and you stay more even as well. I believe that's the idea. Something else that I do if the temperature of the house is kind of not too cold and it's like borderline, I go to bed with wet hair. Like, not soaking wet. I'll wash it earlier and then go to bed with it damp, or I'll just spray water in it and go to bed with it damp. I find, again, that really will get me through most of the night without a really bad hot flash, so, or a night sweat. So that's helpful if that works for you. I know that's not something that would work for everybody. I also would recommend that if you have central air, you run the fan continuously, so not just when it's pushing the hot or the cold air through your house. Again, that kind of like the even temperature and the circulation. And I also, my bed's in front of a duct, so I find that constant kind of breeze really does help to like minimize those hot flashes and night sweats. So again, you may find that helpful, you may not. Two other things that I really find to be like essential is staying hydrated. And I find that I can't eat sugar or high glycemic index foods kind of in the evening. And like as I get towards bed. I also find it, if I eat something that's like difficult to digest, I also have a trouble, but I have quite a bad digestive system, so I don't know whether that one is just me or if that's more broadly a problem. I believe I've seen the sugar mentioned by other people, so it might be something to try. That was always the time of day that I really started craving carbs, but I found by not having them at that time of night, like that kind of you know, potatoes, white rice, and refined sugar, or like even a can of pop at nighttime in the evening, that cuts my night sweats down by so much. And I'm guessing that in the day as well, it would help my hot flushes to not be having as much of that stuff as well. So those are my tips. I hope that it helps somebody out there. I know that when that started happening, because of my health issues, that was something that I really struggled to cope with, especially for going out of the house. But this has been a real lifesaver because it just cuts the amount of hassle and heat down by so much by catching it quick. So anyway, let me know if you have any other tips. I'd love to hear, and I hope you're all well. I like this if it helped at all. Leave a comment again of your top tips, and I try to put a new video every Wednesday. Usually I'm talking about movies or crafting, so subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you next week. Bye.